Well, more than 240 people, including a Canadian, are believed to be dead after a plane crash in northwestern India. It's chaos on the ground right now in Ahmedabad, where the Air India flight went down in a residential area shortly after taking off for London. 169 Indians, 53 Britons, 7 Portuguese, and 1 Canadian were on board. The city's police commissioner expects there will also be casualties on the ground as the plane crashed in the city in the middle of the day. Crowds have gathered outside a hospital as ambulances started arriving after the crash, hoping for word about loved ones who were in the area at the time. And the plane is a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, one of the most modern passenger aircraft in service. According to the Aviation Safety Network database, this is the first time this aircraft has ever crashed. And Prime Minister Mark Carney posted that he's devastated to learn about the crash. He goes on to say, "My thoughts are with the loved ones of everyone on board. Canada's transportation officials are in close contact with counterparts, and I'm receiving regular updates as the response to this tragedy unfolds." Right now, we're joined live by aviation consultant Keith Mackey. We appreciate your time, Keith. Obviously, this is a horrific tragedy that we're covering right now. Based on preliminary reports, obviously it's early in the investigation, what do you think might have went wrong here?
Well, good morning, Jamie, and thank you for having me. We have video now of the airplane descending just prior to crashing, and you can see the actual impact in the video. And it would appear in the video, from my perspective anyway, that neither engine was developing power. So the aircraft was kind of gliding from the maximum altitude that it had reached, which was 650 feet. So we'll have to discover what happened that led the engines developing power for takeoff and then suddenly losing it, if that's what happened prior to the accident. That's merely speculation at this point. That's my observation from what I see in the video.
Also in the video, I mean, we know that this plane crashed shortly after takeoff, and it seemed obviously like there was some issues with the ascent. Just, you know, from your experience, what are some of the issues that could potentially arise? Obviously, engine problems being one of them, but are there any other, issues that could arise on an ascent that would cause the plane to crash?
Well, whatever happened very suddenly on ascent, and we will find out the answers to this because the next step after rescuing any injured people on the ground will be to recover what we call the black boxes. And these consist of the cockpit voice recorder, which will record all the conversations between the pilots, and then the digital flight data recorder, which will record the position of every control in the airplane. So we'll know exactly what the pilots said and what they did, and this will be a big step in solving the problem, I think, in this case.
This particular plane, it's a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. It's considered to be one of the most modern passenger aircrafts in service. And obviously there's going to be some sort of post-mortem on this plane. And if there's any kind of technology issues or glitches, what do you expect to happen in the post-mortem looking into this crash, and specifically about maybe some of the technology that might have malfunctioned?
Well, you're exactly right. That's exactly what will take place, and that digital flight data recorder will give us a lot of the information. There'll be a lot of interested parties participating in the investigation. Boeing will certainly be one. Since it happened in India, the Indian government will certainly participate. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board will be involved because they originally certified the airplane, and the maker of the engines, GE. And these people will send team members that will work together and specialize in different subjects. For example, we'll have a power plant team. We'll have a fuel team in this case. We'll have a team that will work with human factors, with the cockpit location. And when all the teams complete their studies, which will involve physically manipulating parts of the airplane and recovering the wreckage, each team will make a report, and the report together, the conclusion of the entire group, will help form the a probable cause of the accident.
Keith, air travel generally considered the safest form of transportation, especially due to its stringent safety regulations. But given what has happened over the last several years, specifically the Boeing 737 MAX 8 that was basically taken out of the air for a long time as a result of two major crashes, what does situations like this do in terms of confidence for travelers out there, and how much it could potentially diminish their confidence in flying? What's your take on that?
Well, the 787 has an excellent safety record.
Mm-hmm.
This is one has crashed, and there are about 1,000 of them flying. Now, during those investigations of Boeing that took place a while back, there were whistleblowers on the 787 that claimed that certain things weren't done properly, but either that has been cleared up and changed, but it certainly hasn't affected anything up until now. And this accident may not be related to the airplane at all. We'll see what happens, and I'm sure we'll have a probable cause, hopefully in the relatively near future.
You know, you just mentioned something about the whistleblowers, and there's articles right now that are appearing online about some of the controversy surrounding whistleblowers, warning of red flags when it comes to the 787 planes that can be devastating. You have to assume that this is going to trigger some major investigations from transportation safety officials and the federal government, I guess not only in the United States, but in India and also in Canada as well.
You're exactly correct. That's what will happen. There was enough whistleblower information that came out on this airplane, and it'll now be reassembled and looked at in view of the accident that took place, and see if any of it relates. If any of it does relate and is useful, perhaps it can be used to correct other problems.
Well, Keith, I'm just curious if there's evidence that, you know, what the whistleblowers were saying is true. Could we potentially see, executives or anyone who's tried to cover this up being charged with some pretty serious crimes here?
I think we could. Boeing has been effectively the equivalent of a crime as a corporation, and they paid a fine, paid part of the fine. It was a rather complicated issue with the 737 MAX. And it kind of bled over to the 787 as far as some of the people involved in the investigation.
Aviation consultant Keith Mackey, really appreciate your time and perspective. Thanks for joining me.
Very nice to meet you, Jamie. Take care. Have a good day.